As a supporter of Sony from 1994 with the original PlayStation all the way up to the PS5, it's a further blow to see that Sony is no longer the same company they once was. Sony is nothing more than a scummy company with scummy practices which are in turn tyrannically suppressing and destroying our human rights and supporting toxic, vile players. They are forcing us to give up our right to privacy and even more so our freedom of speech. They have their TOS, Terms of Service, which is so vague anybody can be at risk because it can be easily abused and manipulated. All under the guise of removing cyberbullying. I mean, on the surface, that sounds good, right? I mean, who wants bullies? I myself hate bullies. But what if you're being bullied and you stand up for yourself? Are you cyberbullying? Well, according to Sony, yes, you are. If you help somebody getting bullied, according to Sony, you are in fact cyberbullying. Their so-called point is eradicating bullying and malicious communications. However, in practice, it's only defending the toxic players and harming the innocent players. Let me give you an example. Many years ago in GTA Online, a grown-ass man was literally abusing a child in the lobby. I'd just come into the lobby and was hearing this man going off at someone. No idea at this point. So I listened for a while to get my facts straight because every time this little kid spoke, he would go off in a nasty and aggressive manner. So I listened to get my facts straight. After so long, my guess is because nobody stood up to him, then he really started going into this child, verbally abusing this little child, who probably wasn't even more than 7 years old. Now armed with the facts, I had a right go at this man, telling him a few home truths, but essentially just stop having a go at a little child. Does he think that he's a big man threatening a little child? He laughed at the thought of the child being scared. I asked the little boy how long had this been going on for. He told me around 30 minutes. So I also turned on the adults in the lobby stating, why have you all allowed this to happen? Why has nobody told this man it's unacceptable? I mean, people were cheering my name and yeah, well done, but they allowed it to continue before I entered the lobby. Anyway, this conversation went on to inbox messages, and of course it crossed the threshold that Sony will abuse you, because the guilty party and two others who were abusive to other people and also myself decided to report me. There isn't a direct option to appeal. You can ring up and explain it, but it won't remove your suspension, even if you are in the right. Sony will do no investigation whatsoever. They will just suspend your account for a period of at least 3 days. No warnings either in my experience. Now, I was going to make a video about what I've just discussed, but I never got round to finishing it. But moving forward in time to the 7th of March 2025, I recently got suspended for a similar-ish reason. Funny enough, it was to do with GTA Online once again. I believe I was helping my friend sell his product on GTA Online, and this clown blew up his product. Decided to abuse the God mode glitch, entering an inaccessible part of the map where you can shoot other players but you can't be shot at in return, making you as invincible essentially. Then start trash talking. I responded laughing at him, basically causing shit and then hiding, so what is he talking about? And then I went on to roast his entire existence, but nothing too bad. No cuss words or swear words. He just went quiet. I come to find out about 24 hours later he reported me to Sony. And Sony, as usual, have done no investigation whatsoever and suspended my account, despite he was using glitches and possibly modding. His friend, for example, was unharmed during several rocket attacks. I'm sure we've all had these experiences. I in turn got a 3-day suspension. Big deal, right? But it's the deeper issue at hand. They believe their terms of service hold some sort of weight over the law. Our right to freedom of speech is once again being eradicated by evil corporations like Sony, who hold the belief that somehow their policy or their TOS is above the law. It isn't. They don't have the time to give us PS5 titles, but have all of the time in the world to suspend innocent people's accounts for no reason. Players will abuse the system to get you wound up to say nothing necessarily major at all, but they will hit the report button. But at this point, it's not clear if AI suspends your services or if a human being actually checks the screen. But no investigation will ever take place. They at most just, as I said, look at the screen and decide then and there they choose to ignore what that person who has said or done simply because they hit the report button. So they could say something bad against your family. You respond, quite normally if you ask me, then they choose to hit report on you. Unless you are, as a player, chooses to report them also. Well, I don't need little Sony to sort my issues out, nor will I stoop to their level. It's not essentially a big deal. The issue between me and the player is over. I will probably never see that player ever again. And even if I did, it's GTA. It's over with. The bigger issue is Sony ignoring the law and treading on our rights to freedom of speech. Be warned, their system can and will be abused and used against you. There is no recourse and you will get suspended. It will start off at 3 days, then I believe it goes to a week, then 10 days, then a month, etc, etc. All for players abusing this system who are bullying and harassing good players online. They think it's a joke. I think Sony is the joke. Be warned, it can happen to you also. In a future video, I will showcase what it's like to be suspended. But be careful out there. It's got to the point where anybody can say or do whatever and you can't even say anything back. Not even cussing them, not even insulting them. You can't even just tell them your side of things. Your choices are shut up or put up because of tyrannical companies like Sony. Once again, I could go into so many different stories about what Sony's done to me and what Sony's done to people that I play with. The bottom line, Sony does not give no fucks about you or me. They're an evil, scammy, dummy company who clearly, as I stated, have no time to be making sure that we got PS5 titles for the PS5 that we've all been basically conned into buying, as far as I'm concerned. But yet they have all of the time in the world to get involved with players' minor disputes and suspend a person's account who hasn't even done anything wrong. Sony are nothing more than lawbreakers and nothing more than dictators at this point. Many people may believe I'm being a bit strong. Well, this is how the system is right now. And if people don't start challenging it, how's it going to be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? It's a slippery slope. The aim of this video is just to give you some knowledge. Don't fall for these players' traps. Even me, I thought I learned my lesson. Not even swearing at them, not even calling them out, just telling them that you're a joke. That can get you suspended. For what? Sony needs to be taken to court. Sony needs to go bankrupt, or Sony needs some sort of backlash to make them change their stance on things, or at least relook at their system. I'm gonna leave that with you.